Hey guys, welcome to the PerPrimitiveCarve weekly research vlog. On this, I wanted to make myself a PerPrimitiveCarve that for every primitive, I can set a start and an end on the primitive and a shift, and it'll give me a different result. So Houdini's standard carve, this is what it does. And to shift it around, I have to have a primitive here, and to move that around. So I want to build this functionality into one and have it driven by attributes. A traditional way that you could solve this with just regular nodes is you can do this through a for loop and stamp values in, but I just didn't want to do that. I don't like doing that. I think it can get a little bit slow. When I was doing this in a for loop, it was very, very slow. So what I do is I take my geometry, I open up the curve, so that gets rid of the face, and I still have the polyline. So this is basically convert to polyline. Except what happens is on this curve, as you can see, there's going to be 2 points here. And so that screws up a important attribute. We want them connected. And so we close it. We basically just fuse it together into a polyline. And the importance of that is we need this. We need a normalized value called arc length, which you see right here. It goes, so this would be 0 and 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and you can see how it goes around the curve. And so we set that. I'm going to turn these random attributes off. Now this is where, this is an example of where I can drive the parameters. And so here is the PerPrimitiveCarve. And so what it does, like a carve, I can change the start and the end value, and so I can curve like this. And I have a shift, and you can see you kind of get a cool effect with this. It can zoom around your text or something like that. So this is sort of a handy way to do that. And it's also per primitive. So what we have here is I can do, I'll expose the parameters here. We can go on here, and then I'll just show you 0.5. We can control this on a per primitive attribute called shift. And what we want to do is we want to go random at primnum. And then that's going to just shift all of them randomly. And so this is like, if you want to, I'm going to be putting this in a simulation where I need explicit, I got to find where these things start so it grows in a certain way. So I needed this functionality. And so again, here's the start value that is determined, and here is the end value. And then we're just going to do the same as, we'll just do 1 minus f start like that. And there's the end value. So that was determined. And so what we want to do is, I guess, look through the code. We're at 3 minutes here. So that was an overview of what it does. So I guess I'll look at the logic of it. So in order to do this, I have this converts gives me a position on the line, and that is basically a primuv function. So I can give it basically, the arc length value, and then it will put that start point in here, which is right here, and there's the end point. So I'm going to close this up. I'm going to put that end. Oh, here's the start point, sorry. And so when I shift around, when I move the shift, I'm moving that start point. And so on that C, it's right here. Now, when I'm in this, when I do this, what I want to do is I want to find the position, then I want to find the next vertice, and I want to walk through them. And for every point, I want to create a point and add a vertex. So I'm creating a totally new primitive here. So basically, I set up my spaces right here. And so this is the start point. And then I set the attribute so I can see it here. So it's 0.03. And then I get the count, and I have to minus 1. And I forget why I have to do that. This is a little bit of artistic math in here where it's like, my numbers aren't working out. And I'm like, just putting stuff in, trying to massage the numbers into place. I'm not a mathematician, obviously. So then I need to get the start vertice. So I have to find where, like, what vertice is above this point. And so I convert it into an unnormalized point space. And so basically it takes this number, multiplies it by the count, and it has this mod on here, so it can loop around. So whatever shift I can move around, these mods that you see, it allows me to loop around this curve. And then with this seal here, it takes this point, unnormalizes it into point space, and then the seal shifts it up into this point right here. So I know this is my next point. Alright, so now that I have this position, I'm going to create a new polyline. So I'm making a totally new primitive. Then I'm going to add a vertex, and it's going to be the start point right here. So I'm going to separate them just so you can see. I'm going to pull that one down, and I'm going to pull that one up. And so it's going to find this point, and then it's going to start looping through the vertices. So it knows what start vertice it is. So it's maybe 1 or 2, I'm not really sure. And it has this count plus the start vert. So I want to start something, so I'm in my logic, I'm starting at 3 and maybe ending at 13. And so I'm still looping through 10 vertices. And the mod makes it loop around. So when I go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, what I'm really doing with this function is I'm going 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, 1, 2, 3. So once I do that, I can get the vertex point, I can get the arc length, and then I can massage the shift value into it, which is really important. And then I set that attribute in, and then I basically go through, I start walking through these vertices, and I just add a point, and it's basically a copy of this point. And then I add a vertex into the new primitive. So it starts going around, and it's on, if this condition is true, if it's greater than the start point value and lower than the end point value, create a point and add a vertice into the primitive, and go through and walk around and do that. And then at the very end, I want to create a endpoint, and so I do that right here. So I add a point, I set the arc length value to it, and then I add a vertex into our new primitive. And then this is very important. This is remove prim, and then there's this 1 at the end. So that means grab the old primitive and all of the vertices and delete them. So I've completely created new primitives pretty much. I haven't really used or massaged values. I basically looked at what I had and I created something completely new. And so that is PerPrimitiveCarve, and hopefully soon you see it in action. Thanks for watching.